Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar from LGC AXIO Proficiency Testing. Thank you very much for joining us, whether you are joining us live or downloading this at a later date. We appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we hope you find today's webinar as interesting as ever. Today, it's an interesting one from our point of view because this is a relatively new area for AXIO Proficiency Testing, but one that we're extremely excited by in terms of supporting laboratories carrying out quality and safety testing in the area. But it's around safeguarding supplements and ensuring quality and trust in dietary supplements. So across the next 30 to 45 minutes or so, we will be covering and exploring some of the potential impacts on consumer safety and confidence that are occurring as a result of the rapidly growing dietary supplements market. I don't think it will have escaped anyone's notice that dietary supplements are increasing in popularity in many different ways, whether it's the general consumer or potentially budding amateur athletes, but also all the way up to professional sports. It's a fascinating marketplace. It's a fascinating area of testing, but it's also one that is extremely important as we look to protect consumer and athlete safety. This is one of those areas where the LGC mantra of science for a safer world really has great meaning. These are quite often new and innovative products, relatively untested and relatively unchecked at the moment. And it's an area where a number of major players are making great strides in presenting both safe and potentially unsafe products to the market. So there are a number of different organizations that play a role in supporting the safety of these products. And what is potentially a very lucrative and legitimate marketplace. So across today's presentation, we're going to consider how the challenges in product integrity are being tackled by analytical testing in elite sport, just as an example, and how these approaches can influence other areas of dietary supplement testing to ensure quality and trust in these products. A quick note around our agenda today. So we're going to run through a quick introduction to dietary supplement testing, and then we're going to be joined by a guest speaker from INFORMED to cover the key to inspiring consumer trust in this area. And then we're going to move into looking at some of the brand new dietary supplements proficiency testing samples and how they can support laboratories' quality systems. Before finally a quick summary of what AXIO Proficiency Testing does and how it can support you as a laboratory in this arena and beyond. We're very fortunate today to be joined by two excellent speakers. The first will be Valerie Badan, and regular listeners to this webinar, regular partners of AXIO will be very familiar with Valerie. Valerie is our global product manager at LGC AXIO Proficiency Testing and has been instrumental in the development of these samples as we bring them to market and support laboratories carrying out testing of these kind of products. We're then joined by Paul Beck. And Paul is the senior technical lead for the supplements part of LGC, and particularly INFORMED, which has a number of different programs. Paul has been with LGC since 1996 and has developed his career within the field of sports anti-doping and research. As the technical lead for the INFORMED programs, Paul is responsible for the development and the evolution of testing methods and technology. And this ensures that the INFORMED programs remain on top of industry requirements, which, as you can imagine, are changing almost daily. Within his presentation today, we're going to have a really good time hearing from Paul, as he will provide a brief overview of the INFORMED programs, but then along with a fascinating study that was performed recently and that highlights the risks associated with non-approved substances being available in the UK marketplace. So please do stick around and enjoy that case study. It's going to be a fascinating one. So to get things going, we're going to hand over to Valerie Badan to walk us through a brief introduction to dietary supplement testing. So Valerie, it's over to you.
Thank you, James, for this introduction. And well, let's explore the world of dietary supplements, starting with some market and regulation information. Dietary supplements and herbal medicines include a range of very different products such as vitamins, minerals, herbs, phytochemicals, for instance, lycopene, or zoochemicals, royal jelly or pollens are two examples, but also things like amino acids, enzymes, and this is far from being an exhaustive list. The global market size was valued at over 140 billion US dollar in 2020, and it is expected to expand at a CAGR of 8.6% between 2021 and 2028. The number one market is from very far the North America and especially the US. And the US market represents over 35% of the global market in 2020. There is a growing consumer awareness regarding personal health and well-being, and this is expected to be a key factor driving the market for dietary supplements and herbal medicines. Natural substances can be treated as either supplements to improve health or medicines for illness. But the line between the two varies significantly across countries and depends on how they are regulated. There is also a huge variety in the terminology that is used to describe what we include for the purpose of this presentation in the term supplements. Some countries will refer to dietary supplements, some other to herbal medicines, complementary medicine, traditional medicine, etc. And there is no international treaty or standard that defines supplements or standardizes the requirements for their quality, their dosage, and their labeling. In the US, the majority of supplements are regulated as food, when in Canada, most natural products, it's their name in Canada, if not all of them, are classified as medicines. In countries such as Australia or New Zealand, most natural products are treated as medicines and regulated as such, but some products fall in the food supplements category. In the European Union, the majority, but not all, but the majority of food supplements are categorized as foods. In China, the category which is classified as supplements is called health food. The products classified as medicines have a strong presence in China and are referred to as traditional Chinese medicine. With whatever the naming and the classification as food supplements or medicines, it is crucial to ensure the safety and the quality of the products. Just a couple of examples to illustrate the challenges of this lack of standardization in the different countries. So for example, a product considered to be a dietary supplement and regulated as a food in the USA may be considered a complementary medicine or a prescription medicine or potentially even a controlled substance in another jurisdiction. For instance, melatonin, which is a dietary supplement in the US, is a prescription medicine in Australia. DHEA, another dietary supplement in the US, is a controlled substance for many countries. So as the dietary supplement market is becoming more and more global and more lucrative, it is more and more important to ensure the quality of the products. There is a growing consensus that new approaches are needed to ensure the quality and public trust in dietary supplements and ingredients, and this includes more testing and more proficiency testing by competent laboratories. There are increasing number of cases of adverse reaction due to contaminants or adulterants in the final products. In 2015, 4 major US retailers were requested to stop selling brands of certain herbal supplements because many of them did not contain what they were supposed to. Many contained plant materials that were not listed on the labels, and many others did not contain any identifiable DNA from the plants that they were supposed to be present. In another report published in December 2020, the Food and Drug Administration found hidden drugs in nearly 50 dietary supplements sold on Amazon or eBay. And those 50 supplements represented 80% of the tested products. There were clearly some risks associated to the consumption of certain products, especially those promoted for sexual enhancement, weight loss, bodybuilding, sleep aids, or pain relief. So obviously the presence of non-labeled or even non-authorized substances can represent a risk for users, And I'm passing over to Paul Beck, who will tell us much more about this. Paul, over to you.
Thank you, Valerie, and hello, everyone. So to give you an overview of INFORMED, the INFORMED family consists of a number of certification programs designed to help support the supplement industry, protect the end user from substances prohibited in sport. The consumer focus programs, INFORMED Sport and Choice, are focused towards finished product testing, with the sport program requiring every batch of registered product to be tested prior to release to market. This program is more focused towards elite sport and is considered the gold standard when it comes to protecting athletes who are subject to doping control. Whereas the Choice program is more a retail monitoring program and utilizes a skip lot monthly testing approach on products already within the marketplace. There are also two business-to-business programs, allowing companies to register ingredients and/or facilities, giving supplement brands confidence their manufacturer or supplier is aware of the risks associated with banned substances. All programs require a rigorous audit of production procedures and facilities to be performed, along with preliminary testing as part of the registration and certification process. But what really lies at the heart of INFORMED is the education of supplement producers of the requirement for enhanced QC procedures to help manage the risk associated with banned substances. So as can be shown on this graphic, the INFORMED programs have been adopted globally and are currently used by brands and manufacturers in over 40 different countries. Since its inception, the INFORMED family of programs have shown steady growth, with the sport program growing rapidly over the last 9 years. This growth has been helped by the endorsements the program has received from anti-doping organisations as well as some sport governing bodies. But another reason behind the success of the programs is due to the growth of the supplement industry and the increasing need for supplements to be subject to enhanced QC procedures aimed at banned substances. The supplement marketplace is substantial in size and the variety of products available seemingly endless. Unfortunately, the levels of quality and integrity of manufacture can also vary. Supplement brands wishing to showcase their integrity and quality of production utilize testing programs such as INFORMED Sport to help raise the profile of their products. The diversity of supplement products is also a potential reason why the risk of contamination exists. For example, contamination via raw materials occurs if a material has been produced in a facility that also produces pharmaceuticals. A raw material may also naturally contain a banned substance, for example, ephedrine within Cedar cordifolia, a plant that is rich in ephedrine and related alkaloids. The manufacturing process can also be a source of contamination, particularly if the facility handles and produces pharmaceutical products for the healthcare industry. Whilst these medicines are safe for use within the general public, many of these products will be considered prohibited within sport. So what manufacturers need to understand is that industry standard quality control procedures will not go far enough to avoid low-level cross-contamination. The issue being contamination within the trace nanogram per gram or parts per billion region has been shown to pose a risk of an inadvertent doping violation. So in order to ensure testing procedures are fit for purpose, the INFORMED programs utilize multiple avenues of information. The main source being the WADA prohibited list, which is a list of substances banned in sport published on an annual basis. In addition to the WADA list, information from brands and manufacturing facilities is also used and enables us to stay in front of new novel ingredients which may pose a risk should they fall into WADA's prohibited substance category. The programs also benefit from LGC's 50 years plus experience in sports anti-doping, providing access to a huge catalogue of prohibited substances and testing expertise. Another particularly useful source of information, and one which helps us stay abreast of the potential risks associated with supplements, is product surveys. This involves purchasing a range of products, testing them, and reviewing the results obtained. As shown on this slide, a number of surveys have been conducted over the years which highlight the ongoing risk of product contamination, with contamination rates ranging from between 10 to 38%. Now, it should be noted, the surveys shown were conducted in different territories and to differing parameters. As an example, the 2015 survey, conducted in collaboration with the Dutch Anti-Doping Agency, focused on supplements deemed to be higher risk products. But whatever their focus, surveys have been proven to be useful tools to help shape the programs and the testing requirements behind them. Whilst the surveys shown focused on normal everyday supplements that did not intentionally contain banned substances, a more recent survey, and one which I will go into more detail, was performed by LGC and focused on products marketed as containing SARMs. This was conducted on the back of rising concerns over the use and sale of SARMs, with a view to gain further intelligence to support and reinforce our screening procedures. So for those who are not aware of SARMs, selective androgen receptor modulators are compounds with specific androgenic properties investigated by pharmaceutical companies for the treatment of conditions such as muscle wasting diseases. SARMs were developed to promote androgenic effects without the side effects associated with traditional anabolic steroid therapies. And to the best of our knowledge, so far, no SARM has demonstrated sufficient safety and efficacy to gain clinical approval by either the EMA or FDA, although some have progressed as far as phase 2 and 3 trials. And again, to the best of our knowledge, there is currently no UK government Home Office control relating to SARMs, and the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited their use and added them to the prohibited list back in 2008. Since their inclusion into WADA's prohibited list, a number of high-profile athletes, as shown on this slide, have failed drug tests due to the detection of SARMs within their system. Following their emergence, the compound ostarine led to a staggering spate of doping violations, with WADA reporting over 100 positives between 2015 and 2017. And according to figures issued by UK Anti-Doping, this rose to in excess of 178 cases by 2019. As time went on, new SARMs began to emerge, leading to further doping violations, with LGD 4033 being a good example. The reasons behind these compounds entering their systems is open to debate. However, failing a doping test due to the consumption of a contaminated supplement is a regular occurrence and has led to the increase in athlete education on the risk of untested supplements. So for the survey, 20 different SARM products were selected, covering 12 different manufacturers. All were sourced from UK-based websites. And in addition to SARMs, other non-approved substances were also included. For example, GW 501516, which is a PPAR receptor agonist. For information, examples of the compounds and naming conventions are displayed on this slide. Now, it's worth noting that some of these compounds have been shown to be carcinogenic during animal trials. So the question really is, how can these non-approved substances be sold? Well, looking closely at the packaging, you can often see statements such as research only or not for human consumption. Some websites are even designed to look like a scientific chemical supplier, and as such appear to be circumventing the controls in place for the sale of nutritional supplements. However, many of these products clearly state dosage, potentially implying suitability for human consumption. So following a review of the marketplace, the compounds listed within this table, along with their modes of action, were targeted. The frequency of which these compounds appear on the labels is also displayed. So as you can see, a total of 11 compounds were targeted, with all but one being listed on the products purchased. And to give you an overview of the analytical procedure, the process adopted was based on a simple dilute and shoot approach, noting there was a potential for high levels of active ingredient. So after arrival at the lab, the products were inspected to ensure seals were intact, and for each sample, a selection of capsules were taken and blended to form an homogeneous subsample. 1 gram portions of the subsample were then diluted with methanol and sonicated to aid solvent extraction, after which aliquots of the methanolic extract were further diluted prior to addition of internal standard and mobile phase ahead of analysis using both targeted and non-targeted LC-HRAM-MS. So again, just to provide some detail on the analysis, for the targeted screen, a simple LC method was utilized to achieve separation over a period of 6.5 minutes. Using a thermo Q-exactive Orbitrap system, high resolution full scan data was captured over a mass range of 90 to 600, and a process of all ion fragmentation was used to generate corresponding MS-MS data. Utilization of stepped collision energies allowed for the collection of highly diagnostic fragment ions to be achieved, and the data obtained using this targeted method was processed using Thermo's ToxFinder software package, utilizing an in-house compound database specifically targeting the compounds of interest. For the non-targeted assay, the same LC method was utilized. However, full scan high resolution MS data was captured over a larger mass range, and MS-MS data was derived using the instrument's data dependent function for the top 10 ions within each full scan. The resulting data files were pretty large and required processing using Thermo's Compound Discoverer software. This allowed us to mine the data against both online and in-house databases. Thermo's MZ Cloud platform is a curated online database of Orbitrap-derived spectra containing a vast number of compounds with data submitted from laboratories across the globe, whereas the in-house database was built over many years and stems from LGC's long history as an anti-doping laboratory within the field of animal sports. So hopefully you can all see this table okay. The table displayed shows the results observed following analysis of the 20 products selected. Also included in the table is information pulled from the product labels relating to dosage. The last 2 columns show the compounds listed on the label and the compounds detected. Those compounds highlighted in red within the labeled column were not detected in the product, whereas those highlighted within the detected column were not listed on the product label. So as an example, sample 7 was found not to contain any of the 3 compounds listed on the label, but was instead found to contain 5 unlisted compounds. So as you can see, there is clear indications of mislabeling, which raises serious concerns when products contain multiple unlisted non-approved pharmaceutical substances. And for extra measure, in addition to SARMs, products 6 and 7 were also found to contain stimulant compounds similar to methylhexanamine, a compound which has been banned by the MHRA due to being a serious health risk. The presence of these compounds highlights how some brands adapt to the imposed restriction of certain ingredients by replacing them with chemically similar materials. To summarize the results displayed in the previous table, over 50% of the products selected were found to contain undeclared substances, with less than half containing what was listed. In fact, 1 sample was even found to contain nothing but sugars. As well as their detection, estimations of concentration were also made by comparing data obtained to that of a reference material. For the most part, the concentration of undeclared substances was found to be less than 0.2 milligrams per kilogram. However, for some products, the levels observed were significantly higher. And for those compounds listed on the label, detected levels were found to vary considerably from that stated. So what were the takeaways from this survey? Well, there is a clear issue with the integrity of these products, particularly with the mislabeling and inclusion of unlabeled dangerous substances. The amounts detected of labeled substances varied considerably. Couple this to the inclusion of unlabeled substances significantly increases the risk to the end user. These compounds are out there in the marketplace and therefore form part of the supplement supply chain. They are most likely manufactured in facilities that are also producing staple supplement ingredients, further increasing the risk of inadvertent contamination. So in conclusion, not only have we shown these products to be high risk with poor manufacturing integrity, the intelligence gained supports the essential inclusion of SARMs and other non-approved substances within banned substance testing programs focused on nutritional supplements. And finally, if anyone is interested in learning more about this study, a paper has been published and the details of which are displayed at the bottom of this slide. So that's it from me. Thank you everyone for your time. I shall now pass back to Valerie.
Thank you, Paul. I think this illustrates very well the number of challenges and actions to be taken to guarantee the quality and the safety of dietary supplements. So the supplement industry has a role to play, but quality control or testing laboratories are also an essential part of ensuring product quality and compliance. Analytical methods, reference standards, and proficiency testing exercise are lacking for many of the thousands of different bioactive ingredients in dietary supplements or complementary medicine, however we call them. Botanical extracts present particular challenges for detecting misidentification and contamination. Detecting the presence of adulterants and contaminants that can have a biological or chemical origin is also very challenging. As mentioned earlier, certain categories of supplements such as athletic performance, sexual performance, weight loss products are particularly prone to the deliberate spiking with unlabeled substances or even the addition of active synthetic drugs. And what Paul has just presented is a really good example of that. For all categories of supplements, whether they are plant extracts, molecules of animal origin, vitamins, minerals, etc., it is important to confirm that the concentration of active compounds is in line with that expected and, in fact, in accordance with the labeling. The World Health Organization published their Strategy for Traditional Medicine in 2013. So the strategy aims to harness the contribution of traditional medicine to health and to promote the safe and effective use of traditional medicine through regulation. Strengthening the safety, the quality, and the effectiveness through regulation is one important pillar of their strategy. According to a report from 2017, Amazon accounts for 77% of all US vitamin and supplement sales made online. And I mentioned earlier that an FDA study found hidden drugs in a number of supplements sold on the internet. But the good news is that quality and safety of supplements is not only a concern for the WHO. In 2021, Amazon updated their requirements for selling dietary supplements on the US website. And since May 2021, supplements brands who sell on Amazon must submit for each product a certificate of analysis issued by a ISO 17025 accredited laboratory, or a certificate of analysis issued by an in-house laboratory that is compliant with good manufacturing practices standards, or the evidence of product enrollment in an accepted third-party certification program, and Informed Choice that Paul has just presented is one of those programs. The dietary supplements products that are intended for sexual enhancement or weight loss and weight management for a number of compounds require a finished product certificate of analysis that has to be issued by the 17025 accredited laboratory. Amazon also stated that if a seller does not comply with the new requirements by end of May 2021, the seller's product may be removed from the website in the US only. If you are interested to know more, you can read AXIO Industry Insight on our website. And clearly, these different requirements are all means of guaranteeing the quality and the conformity of the products offered to the consumers. And this also passes through more testing and more proficiency testing in order to meet the requirements of the ISO 17025. So to support laboratories carrying out the analysis of dietary supplements, AXIO Proficiency Testing offers a number of samples as part of the scheme PharmaSure. We are adding new samples to the scheme. For instance, sample to test the phytochemical identity of a plant material, samples to test the presence of contaminants such as heavy metals in botanical supplements such as ginseng, or in zoochemical supplements, pollen. And for information, the European Commission has just set some new limits for cadmium and lead in food supplements. The adulteration, the authenticity is also addressed with the sildenafil in supplements. Sildenafil is the active ingredient in Viagra. And our AXIO also proposed a number of samples to assess the active substances that we refer to as potency, either in a ginseng sample, in ginkgo biloba, in a multivitamin, or in a multi-element samples. And all those samples will be available once a year in 2022. Before we conclude, I would like to make a specific focus on one of the new AXIO sample, which is reference pH21. So this multi-element sample allows to test the potency, so the concentration of active substances, and it also allows us to introduce the concept of compliance. So the sample pH21 will be provided together with an associated label, and laboratories will be proposed to use their analysis results, including the uncertainty of measurement, to decide whether the product is compliant with the associated labeling. Use of the uncertainty information for compliance assessment is well defined in the EURACHEM CTAC guide that has been issued in April 2021, and that is available on EURACHEM website for free. Thank you, and I now pass over to James.
Thank you, Valerie, and thank you, Paul. A quick note from me then around AXIO Proficiency Testing and how we as a proficiency testing provider support laboratories worldwide. I think many of you on this webinar will be very much aware of the benefits of proficiency testing, but just to refresh anyone's memory, proficiency testing is a critical tool in ensuring laboratory performance is consistent and that the measurements made within a laboratory are accurate and reliable. Proficiency testing is specified in the ISO standard 17025 as a key external quality assessment tool. And PT can support any laboratory that seeks to work to protect consumer safety, such as those consuming dietary supplement products, in a variety of different ways. The ways in which PT can support your laboratory, it can help to fulfill accreditation requirements, whether it's to the aforementioned ISO 17025 or ISO standard 15189 and many other international or national standards. It gives you an opportunity to demonstrate your laboratory competency to customers or regulatory bodies and other major stakeholders. It gives you a rare opportunity to compare your results with laboratories around the world, especially if you engage with a proficiency testing provider such as AXIO, which has a worldwide reach. And it gives you a chance to compare your results and the effectiveness of your methods with comparative peers all over the globe. Proficiency testing can also be a great tool in managing risk through an early warning of potential problems. So should your testing of proficiency testing samples raise any concerns, it's potentially a quick way to get on top of problems before they actually impact on the output of your laboratory and your measurements. Proficiency testing can aid your verification of methods and your instrumentation. And finally, and certainly still importantly, it is an opportunity to educate and train staff by allowing various analysts in the laboratory to use the proficiency testing samples and to take part in proficiency testing gives you an opportunity to ensure that everybody is able to work effectively and consistently and support your measurements accurately. For over 40 years, LGC and AXIO Proficiency Testing has been leading the direction of proficiency testing, bringing our technical expertise and our influence to drive the future of quality assurance. A large number of our team play a key role in international bodies, committees, advisory groups, and we also ensure that we attend industry events, conferences, workshops, and many other information gathering exercises to ensure that we are meeting the needs of any given industry at any given time. And that includes our PharmaSure scheme, which seeks to support the consumer safety in their consumption of pharmaceutical and related products, particularly in this case, dietary supplements. We design all of our schemes to meet laboratories' future needs, hence that intelligence and information style exercise that I described. It's what helps you consistently deliver a quality product, meet sector-specific standards, or achieve accreditation to ISO IEC 17025 or ISO 15189. We also have a great opportunity at LGC to connect with various experts around our organisation beyond the AXIO Proficiency Testing brand. An example you will have seen today with the opportunity to connect to the INFORMED brand and experts such as Paul, who help guide us in our supplements testing support. And that really plays a key part in making sure that we have unique insight into what laboratory testing needs in any given sector or arena. We believe that great results are born out of confidence, and that by working with LGC AXIO Proficiency Testing, you can have the assurance that your decision making is informed, reliable, and effective. And that particularly applies today in the world of dietary supplements testing. Ultimately, what we like to say is that we are here to support you. We are your perfect partner in proficiency. So should you have any specific needs, we do encourage you to reach out and connect with us directly. You can discover more about both AXIO Proficiency Testing and the specifics of this subject matter at lgcstandards.com/AXIO. Should the world of informed sport or informed choice or the other programs that Paul introduced earlier in today's presentation interest you or be of great value, we do urge you to go and visit WeTestYouTrust.com and explore the options available to brands and consumers there. You can contact each of us at our email addresses as well, so please do contact us at axio@lgcgroup.com. We're always excited to hear about your specific needs, so you can visit our website and discover what we have for you, but should you not find exactly what you're looking for, we're keen to understand what it is that you are after. So please do reach out to us directly, tell us what it is you're trying to achieve, and we will work with you to find the best possible proficiency testing solution. Similarly, if you visit WeTestYouTrust.com/contact, you'll be able to fill in a simple contact form, which will direct you to the most relevant area in the informed selection of programs. So again, a great place to get in touch with us. You'll also find the AXIO Proficiency Testing Informed brands on social media, including LinkedIn and Twitter. So please just search for either AXIO Proficiency Testing or Informed Sport or Informed Choice on those platforms. And you will find there where we share a great deal of our information, our intelligence, and our latest news. So that could be things like new samples, it could be new white papers, but we also share a number of insightful videos, articles, and the latest news in a number of different sectors and industries, but including the pharmaceutical and indeed consumer safety areas. So at that stage, I'd like to say thank you very much. There is an opportunity now for anyone to ask any questions. So there is a questions function as part of the GoToWebinar experience. So please do type in any questions you have and hit submit, and I will direct them in the right direction. We have had one question just on the availability of this presentation post live broadcast. So yes, if you have attended, or in fact, even if you have registered, you'll receive an email with a link to the recording of this webinar within 1 day of the broadcast. So should you want to re-watch any of this, and I think one of the most fascinating things about today's presentation is this unique insight we've had into an important survey result. Please excuse my dog. The risks of live broadcast there. Thank you very much. That's to the delivery man that set off my rather lively dog there. So please accept my apologies. But as I was saying, today's presentation has given us a unique insight into an area that we wouldn't have otherwise. So one opportunity here is to rewatch and consume some of this information at a later date. So keep an eye out for the email with a link to the recording, and it's an opportunity to also share the link with your colleagues should they have any interest in watching at a later date. So keep an eye out for that. I have also been asked about a PDF of the presentation. I think ultimately what we like to share is the recording and the live events. So again, please do watch and share that rather than necessarily sending out the exact slides. We've been asked a question, Valerie, around the accreditation of the new AXIO PT samples, or in fact the whole portfolio of AXIO Proficiency Testing samples for dietary supplement testing. Could you update us on the accreditation status of these samples?
Well, I would need to check individually for each sample because the status might be different. It's very likely that the samples we are issuing, well, some of the samples that we are issuing is proposing in 2022 the first time may not be in our scope for the first dispatch. But really, I would need to double check sample by sample to give the exact information about the accreditation status.
Great, thank you. And I think some of the pre-existing ones are most definitely accredited as part of our AXIO Proficiency Testing scope of accreditation, courtesy of UCAS. Okay, there's another few minutes. Should anyone have any further questions, I'll keep a quick eye out. While we're keeping an eye out for any additional questions, I'll just take this opportunity to say a huge thank you actually to both Paul and Valerie for taking their time to join us today. As I mentioned, it's quite a unique opportunity to get an insight into some pretty advanced areas of testing, and particularly some of the intelligence gathering that's been done by the INFORMED group offers a really, really specific but also extremely valuable insight into some of the risks posed in the dietary supplements area. I think product integrity in this space is one of the key questions that the world is facing right now. It's a major consumer trend, and as a result, that means there is always opportunity for risk, whether it's deliberate or inadvertent. And so I think to get the insight from the front line is really valuable to us all, and hopefully across the LGC position, we will have an opportunity to address any of those concerns. Paul, we've been asked actually whether or not there's any key way of testing or checking whether or not products are meeting INFORMED requirements. Now, I believe there's been an app launched under the INFORMED banner that will enable consumers and brands and, for instance, testing laboratories to check products and their status. Is that correct?
It is correct, yep. So there's a recent app that's been launched. But what I would say is the website is potentially the best place to go, where you can search our website, the Informed Sport or Informed Choice websites, using either product name or even batch number, I believe, in the search function, and that would come up to tell you whether or not it's a registered product.
Fantastic, thank you very much, Paul. Yes, so again, I'd like to reiterate, go and visit WeTestYouTrust.com. You can also find your way through to informedsport.com, and there's, as Paul mentioned, there is a search function that allows you to put in batch numbers or products, and you will be able to find specific products that are accredited or at least certified by the INFORMED programs. I think the other thing you can do actually is download a single file that contains a list of all the certified brands and product providers. So again, WeTestYouTrust.com is a great place to visit there. Okay. And yeah, I've just had another question on the recording of the webinar. So just a quick note that yes, all attendees and all registrants will receive a copy of this webinar recording, so you can watch and download at a later date. And similarly, should we not have addressed any questions today, an opportunity to get in touch with us on either of the email areas that I have mentioned already, and we will come back to you. Okay, so at this stage, I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone for attending. So we know time is valuable these days, and I hope everyone's managing to stay safe, but thank you very much for taking a part of your day out to be with us and to learn more about both AXIO Proficiency Testing and INFORMED, and hopefully we've provided you with some insight into some of the challenges in the dietary supplements area, but also hopefully we've provided you with some ideas around potential solutions to your testing challenges. So again, please do reach out to us as described and let us know if we can help you in any given way. But otherwise, thank you very much and keep an eye out for all of our future webinars. And finally, thank you, Valerie, and thank you, Paul, for spending your time with us and sharing some really valuable insights. So thank you from everybody at AXIO Proficiency Testing. We wish you a very pleasant day, week, month, and remainder of this year. Take care and